can see the speed of the water going down there as it just comes through that narrowing there. I can smell dead fish. It's coming in. You can see what used to be the Kodak building, which is now mainly residential. It was the UK head office of Kodak since about wartime to about, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. Kodak didn't need that. Once digital cameras came along, their job was to simply reduce, rationalise to the size of their incoming business. Not every business idea is going to last forever. Most products have a life cycle, and camera film is one of them. When digital photography came up, well, then that's the end of camera film, isn't it? But then you can get into other things. You've got digital photo frames that you can use that didn't exist before, because you wouldn't use a digital photo frame for pictures that have been printed out. Things like photo albums are less needed these days, because you don't print out so many photos, you tend to have them on screens. So people whose business is making nice photo albums have a reduced business. They don't have no business, because still there's always a need for the odd one, but it's nothing like what it used to be. You've seen me walk along here before, if you've been watching all the things on my channel, but some things might be worth seeing more than one time of the year. Right now these brambles are maturing into blackberries, but they're still green. They're not even red yet, most of them. I have seen some red ones. I haven't really seen any black ones yet, but there's plenty of them. And anybody wanting to go blackberry picking can go and grab them, turn them into jam, whatever they want. A place like that, nobody's going to complain, whoever goes and picks them. And if in Hemel Hempstead you don't do anything with your garden, then what you'll eventually get will be brambles. So if you get such is the mercy of the Lord, that even if you do nothing, you still get some tasty fruit. I don't recommend it though necessarily. So back there's a little bridge with the Bullborn running through it, and that one ahead, that's where the canal together with the Gade crosses Two Waters Way. The road used to come up this way. And if this is a film about Apsley, then the time to stop it will be in a minute, because this isn't really Apsley anymore once you get to this point. You've got the Two Waters area. Everybody calls it Dacorum Borough Council. Everybody else, every other town would have a right to use its name. Whereas Hemel Hempstead, everybody uses the stupid, imposed by government name of Dacorum. Perhaps they're hoping that we'll observe decorum if they call us Dacorum, although the two words are not related. You could do that, couldn't you? You could have signs up saying "Observe decorum in Dacorum." That's the sort of thing I'd expect from government or agencies. But I don't think they've thought of that pun yet, because it's not too obvious to them at their level of education. This corner down here, you can see the two waters. You can see this corner here. There's the Gade, which is still a river at this point, dropping into the canal. It's actually it almost looks as flowing upstream, which hopefully it isn't, but it might be on the odd occasion. Depending on the water flow through the canal, it might flow a little way upstream, but it should be actually flowing in the other direction. Which is quite amusing, because there is quite an evident flow in the wrong direction. Why that is beyond me. It's not tidal. We're a good couple of 100 miles of waterway away from the sea here. It's not a couple of miles away from the sea, but it's a couple of miles of the river channel away from the sea, because it bends around in various places. Maybe it's not, maybe it's just the wind, the effect of the wind on the surface, that it looks as though it's going the wrong way, but probably underneath it's still going the correct way. You can see that the wind is driving these plant heads over. Maybe that's what's making it look as though it's going uphill when it can't possibly be really going uphill. It's just a surface being blown, the objects on the surface being blown away from the direction of the travel of the water. And I mean, it must effectively be the action of the locks on the canal, that if there is any upstream flow on this, and it'll be all down to the action of the locks, and then there'll be somewhere up here where it all gathers together and goes up or down a little bit. I suggest it'll probably be the broad part near the water gardens. But it is actually still travelling in the wrong direction quite strongly, because you can see even on the riverbed things are moving up in that direction. Well, that's the only explanation I can think of, that at the moment we haven't got a very heavy flow of water. It hasn't rained a lot here in Hemel Hempstead. In the Chilterns area, it hasn't rained for a long time. A little bit of rain yesterday, but not much, and before that 2 or 3 weeks of no rain, so there's little flow coming down, instead of which the Grand Union Canal, you've got obviously the lock systems pushing water through it, and evidently the level of the canal is being maintained at a higher level than the water here, and so the water that we just observed flowing in the wrong direction up the Gade, now we have a sort of rippling effect as all the surfaces rippled, and still pushing in this direction quite strongly. This is really quite interesting. I wonder how long that... Hi! What a nice person, giving me a nice wave even though he didn't know me. Don't know what he said, over something salutary.